Yeah, y'all, I'm back again. This is Ramondo Thomas. I'm back with the conversation. And that conversation is in regard to race relations in the United States of America, especially in regard to police shootings of some innocent and some not innocent, but unarmed, many unarmed black men and women. Well, okay, where we left off, 85% black people in prison out of the 2.5 million prisoners in the United States. And then 85% of those black people that are locked up in prison are in prison for drug related crimes. Now, we talked about poverty and we started to move into the effects of poverty, which is crime. Crime is the effect of poverty, desperation, anger, hate, frustration, lying, stealing, and killing, and murder. This is what happens as a result of poverty. It turns into crime. Poverty and crime are synonymous. They're together. They're partners. They're family. They're related. It's all about poverty breeding crime. Now, let's imagine this. In a nation where the bottom rung of the people, at least almost 20 million people are in poverty in the black community, and I'm speaking for the black community, 20 million people are in some type of poverty, in some places with as much as a 37% unemployment rate for black folks, especially black men. When you think about that, you have to say to yourself that, wait a minute. If the unemployment rate is 37% in a community, then what is the crime rate? Match the crime rate up with the unemployment rate, and you'll see that they're synonymous. You'll see that crime equals poverty, poverty equals crime. So I would say then this is something that our scholars, the Congress, the president, and the judicial system should be analyzing. How do we change that scenario of poverty and crime, especially once we realize that poverty equals crime? See, we got to realize that first. Once we realize that, we'll stop blaming criminals for being criminals because we know that they're in an impoverished situation. So they're doing what they have to do, even though you might say, well, they can do something else. They can get a job. They can get some education. Maybe, maybe not. The bottom line is that at the moment, they got to survive. And then what are the elements of crime that result from poverty, which we've discussed? But let's discuss it a little bit more again. What are the results? Some folks that have to pay the rent and don't want to get evicted because they got children and not making enough money, and they can't afford to have two jobs and take care of their family, they start doing side businesses. And the most lucrative side business in these United States of America for black people is the sale of narcotics. Cocaine, marijuana, heroin, ecstasy, mollies, and anything else that you can get your hands on of a prescription type medicine that you can sell and make the funds to pay the bills so you can keep a roof over your head and take care of your children. And people will look at you and they'll say, well, hey, wow. I mean, you're a drug dealer. Yeah. It's the most lucrative business in the black community. I spoke about entrepreneurs. All of these drug sellers are entrepreneurs. they're drug selling entrepreneurs. Why? Because you can see, because it's lucrative. You can get in the drug business with as little as $5. You can buy you one crack rock for $5. Split it in half and sell two crack rocks. You bought it for $5, you sold it, two of them, 5 and 5, you got 10. Now you got $10. Now you can go buy your two crack rocks and make 20. You can buy your four crack rocks after that and make 80. And the more you buy, the more the price comes down. So you can actually become an entrepreneur with one crack rock in the black community. So if you don't have nothing and you can just put your hands on $5, you can get in business. There's no other business or no other opportunity when you don't have a job, when you aren't educated. There's no other opportunity in the black community that's so lucrative unless you're extremely talented. Baseball player, basketball player, your coach look at you and say, hey, you got talent. You get a break. You can sing, dance, perform, play an instrument. But if you don't have those skills or those talents, those abilities, then you've got to do what you've got to do. And then you look at the circumstances and your situation, you have to weigh it and you make a decision. What am I going to do? Is it better for me to starve or run from the police? That's a catch-22. It's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. Now, with that being said, some folks say you can do something else other than sell drugs. Maybe, but it's lucrative. You could possibly open you up a restaurant. You could possibly open you up a shoe store, a car wash, something. But you still got to have money. You got to get it from somewhere. You got to have a job that's going to give you enough money to pay past the bills and to help to put you in business over a period of time. And in our communities, for the most part, that's not an option. We don't have those kind of opportunities to do that. And then you don't have nobody to go to help you, unless you got some family that loves you. And even if you do, they probably don't have any money, so they can just love you, but they can't help you. They can talk to you, they can suggest things. You can all support each other with that, but you don't have any money. And then when I say that, I'm saying your immediate family, but at some point I'm going to retract that. So let me put it like this. Throughout these recordings, sometimes you're going to find that it's going to seem like and sound like I'm contradicting myself. And in some cases I am, but that's because this is a no-win, do or die, catch-22 situation. So a catch-22 is an automatic contradiction. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But you got to do something. You can't sit there and do nothing. And especially when it's at the moment. It's one thing when you got a little time, you can try to work something out. But when you've got to eat today, when you've got to put gas in the car today, when you got to pay the insurance on the car today to keep from being stopped because they've now canceled your registration, and as soon as the police stop you, got an $800 ticket that you already can't even pay for the insurance. It was $119. How you gonna pay for an $800 ticket? So all these pressures do what? Force you deeper into crime, poverty, and crime. And now drugs. Now the business, the entrepreneurial business of selling narcotics, distributing narcotics. So now this is where everything starts to come together. Poverty, crime, desperation, frustration, lying, stealing, killing, murder. And then the lucrative business of selling drugs in the black communities. And from that, here comes the police. From that, here comes The penitentiary. From that, here come the graveyard. Black in America. Now, some folks say, you're not going to get away with that and just tell us that it's all our fault, the United States government and the people of America, that black people are in this condition. You all have the opportunity to get out of this condition. You can do something better for yourself than this. I mean, we can complain about it. We can talk about how we're being treated and how we have no opportunities. You're right. And then you can look at us and you can say that that's really not the case. It's our own fault that we're in this position, in this condition. Remember, I told you this is a catch-22, so I can agree and disagree simultaneously. It is our fault. And it's your fault too. It's our fault. It's America's fault. It's the United States of America's fault. It's this nation's fault. Do you want the truth, or do you want us to keep sugarcoating this nonsense? It's the fault of the entire nation. And you may think that this is just a scourge on black people, but oh no. This is much more than that. It's a scourge on the entire nation. When you go around the world and you tell the whole world that the United States of America is the greatest nation on earth and it's the best place to be to do well and, you know, and achieve the American dream. And then when we go and fight wars in other countries to help them from up under the oppression of tyrants and dictators and the different things that we claim that we're against and that we stand for freedom and peace, and then you look back at America and you look at slavery, where this country was built, and you look at Jim Crow and all this racial white supremacy, and you look at all these issues against black folks, and you look around the world and you wonder why nobody's ever took a boat or a plane and came over here to save us from America, from the oppression of America. I guess because it's the greatest country on earth, maybe you may want to say that black people are not up under oppression. But you know, that's not the case. We've been oppressed. We're still being oppressed. And there's not a whole lot that we can do about the situation because it's so enthralled. It's so many layers to this, to the thickness of this evil, of this brilliant evil. It's brilliant. And I know I'm kind of jumping around and I want to clear this up because I'm going to get to this point. And the point that I'm going to get to is the connection between the killing of unarmed black men by the police in America. Why it's happening. And what is the result that those that are in control of this are expecting. In my opinion, I think that that is an all-out race war. Black people against white people, knowing that we have no way of winning a war like that. We would just be slaughtered. We don't have weapons. Little pop guns a few black people have. We don't have no weapons to fight nobody. We're not even trying to fight nobody. If we was, we would have went off a long time ago. We probably would have went off back in the days of, what was his name? Anyway, we've had several opportunities and reasons to go off. Black folks are not trying to fight America. We're not really into being, just haters of America. As silly as it may seem, we kind of love America. I remember when Reverend Jeremiah Wright said, Not God bless America, but God damn America. And everybody went off on him. They wanted to stop Barack from becoming the president because of what Jeremiah said. And when he said it, I had to ask myself, is that a true statement or is that a false statement? When Jeremiah Wright said that, was he speaking the truth? Should America be blessed or damned? Well, I'm going to leave that up to you to decide when I'm done with this conversation. Should America be blessed or should America be damned? Let's go back a little bit and talk about poverty and crime and the sale of narcotics and the drug war, black on black crime, and the police and the shooting all over the country, the nation, of black people as a result. Why are we being killed by the police? Why are the police being acquitted as a result of these murders? Well, black people, I wish I could be more streamlined with this conversation, but I'm just going to give it to you raw as I can give it to you. There's no sense in me trying to sugarcoat this. There's no sense in me trying to figure out no pretty words to give you. I just want to tell you the truth. In my opinion, we're bringing this on ourselves. I don't want anybody to get mad at me. I'm just going to tell you the truth of what I think. If you think I'm wrong, that's fine. You have your opinion. But I think we're bringing this destruction upon ourselves. What do I mean by that? I mean that I think that there's an antidote to this. I think that there's a way to stop this. I think that there's a way to eliminate poverty, crime, police brutality, racism, white supremacy. I think that there's a way that black people can put an end to this immediately. But it's up to us. You see, we're the reason, watch this closely now, we are the reason why the police are attacking us. They're using us as an excuse. What do you mean by that, Ramondo? I mean that our hate because of poverty, our frustration, our desperation, our lies and stealing and killing against each other, called black on black crime, is fueling the anxiety that the police feel and that some of them are hoping for in order to fire their weapons and kill you. See, when you kill each other and the police has to come into your community because of black on black gang banging, drug dealing, impoverished criminal activity, they say to themselves, they're thugs, they're dangerous, they're violent. And when I go in there, I'm not taking no chances because I'm trying to go home tonight. If I see one of them reach for a cell phone, I'm blowing his head off. I tell you to stop, boy, I mean you freeze and you keep your hands high in the air. And even if you do that, in some cases, you can get dropped by the police. See, our black on black crime as a result of poverty, which equals the crimes that we commit, is fueling police brutality and their their anger towards young and older black people, mostly younger, especially young people, especially young black men, but even older black men are being murdered. But it's mostly the youth, the black youth. So they look at this and they say, wow, if I go in that community, I might not make it home. So if I have an encounter with one of them thugs, I'm just gonna blast him. I'm not gonna ask no questions. If he doesn't follow my commands, he's going down. That's not the way a community is supposed to operate. The police are supposed to be there to help the people, to assist them. But crime, burglaries, robbery, and murder has got the police uptight in the black communities. See, we talk about, like, for instance, the police kills a black man, an unarmed black man, and then we immediately get very upset and go out and start protesting, looting, burning, and being extremely angry. And we have the right to do that. I'm angry about it. But we fail to look at ourselves and say, why is this happening? We can blame the police because they shouldn't be doing it. They should be trained better. But actually, we have to still look at the man in the mirror. We have to look at ourselves and say, what's fueling this? It's our own black on black crime that's making this happen. It gives them the opportunity and the ability to be able to say they're thugs, they're dangerous. I had to do it. See? They don't do that in white communities because it ain't like that. I mean, I'm not saying that white people don't kill each other, don't rob each other, don't do different things to each other, but it's a little different. It's not, just everywhere you look in all the communities. White folks, they don't have to do crime like us because most of them are not in poverty. And if they are, they can get some help. And they do get help. The jobs are available to them. They have support groups and systems from their families. Many of them privileged from growing up into money and having, education, and people that were already educated where we come up. Your mother ran into a situation and met a guy and had a couple of babies and she's just trying to make it. And along the way, as she's going through her relationships, she ends up having 3, 4, 5 babies by 2, 3 different men. And they're all gone. Nobody's there to take care or raise those children in these communities. So these children are raising themselves. And the gangs become their father and their mother. And all those are children. With a few grown-ups that were children that are now the gang leaders who are actually grown children. So what can they do to make money? Sell drugs in the community. How do they enforce that business? Killing each other. We're killing each other all across America. Chicago, Baltimore, New York, LA, New Orleans, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Miami, DC, all across this nation. Black on black crime. As a result of what? Poverty. So can you blame poverty? You could. Then if you blame poverty, then you look back and you say, well, it's the government's fault because they haven't created enough jobs for us all to be able to live our lives, pay our bills, and not have to commit crimes. See, let's say, for instance, America, when it was established, that it was established like this. And I'm not sure if this can work around the entire world, but I'm going to give you an example. Let's say when America established itself, it said, we're going to take care of all the people because we're the United States of America. Then what America would do they would make sure that everybody could live and not commit crimes. So in order to be able to do that, you've got to set up a system where there are enough jobs created that people can work, make enough money to pay their bills, and not commit crimes. Now, if the people don't commit crimes, then